Hi everyone, what's up? Kwaku here. Hope you've had a great and restful weekend. I'm going to be giving you our next Life Words video for today. Today we're going to be looking at Mark chapter 10 verses 32 to 45. As always, I'm going to share some thoughts with you around this passage of scripture and hopefully you're reading along for yourself. So let's dive right in. Now, in this passage of scripture we see Jesus with his disciples and they're on their way to Jerusalem. And while they're on their way, Jesus begins to predict his death and betrayal to the disciples again. He tells them about how he's going to be betrayed, how he's going to be handed over to the religious leaders, and they're going to hand him over to the Romans, and he's going to be crucified. But he also predicts his resurrection that will happen 3 days after. While this is all going on, the disciples, James and John, ask Jesus something really crazy. They ask Jesus if they can have a place of honor at his right and left hand side when he's in heaven. And Jesus is kind of shocked by their request. He tests their hearts even. He says, do you even know what kind of suffering you'd have to endure to even attain such a place at my right and left hand side? And James and John are pretty sure of themselves and they're like, yeah, of course we will. And while this whole conversation is going on, the disciples get a bit indignant. They're a bit chafed by everything that's going on. And Jesus then begins to teach them a very, very valuable lesson about servanthood and leadership. Now, what Jesus does when he's giving this lesson about leadership and servanthood is he acknowledges the way the world is at that present time. And it's pretty much the same way our world is now when it comes to our leaders. He says that leaders in the world are very proud and full of themselves. He says they use their authority to lord it over the people they are over. But he says with his disciples and with people that follow him, it has to be different. He says if you want to be the greatest, you must learn how to be a servant. You must have a servant heart towards the people that you lead. And he continues by saying that even he himself, the Son of Man, who we know is Jesus, didn't come to be served, but came to be a servant to all. Now, what does that mean for all of us today? Well, one, it's an encouragement. It means that regardless of your position, wherever you find yourself in life, you can be a leader to someone. It means that you don't have to have a lofty position or a title. The disciples weren't people of lofty positions or titles. They were average people, fishermen and tradesmen who Jesus just found along the way, and they decided to walk with him. In the same way, us as just our average people, whether we're important or not, we can lead people in our lives today. We can help people. We can be compassionate. We can have that servant heart and show Jesus to people through the way that we serve them, and in that servanthood lead. Now, what that might mean for you is it might look completely different. You might have a sibling who's younger than you that you can serve. You might be the only child in the family and you can serve your family. You might have a group of friends that you're really close with and maybe none of them know Jesus. And maybe a way for you to lead in that situation is by being a servant to them, being inclined to what they need, listening to their problems, being compassionate, serving them and putting them first. And in that, being a leader. That's what leadership really looks like. Jesus proved it in the way he lived his life on earth. In one of our projects, Leadership Academy, we have a whole session based around this topic of servant leadership. What it looks like to let go of arrogance and pride and put that down and be willing to help others and serve people, and how that servanthood is the greatest way to be a leader. I could go on and talk about this topic forever, but in hopes of trying to keep this video as short as possible, I'm going to stop there. But hopefully if you're intrigued, you can just ask us some questions if you want to know more about it. Why don't you message us on our Instagram at NewhamYFC or drop a comment in this video below. Why don't you also go ahead, like and share this video with some friends and subscribe to this channel. Maybe this video can help you and help some friends that you're with. Maybe this video can inspire other people you know who need to hear this message, that where they are is exactly where they need to be and they don't need to be anything more than that. But I hope you are encouraged and challenged by this video. Like I said, why don't you go ahead and share it with some friends? Why don't you go ahead and like it? Why don't you go ahead on our Instagram and drop us a message if you want to get in contact with us and ask some questions around this scripture or have a much more deep, insightful conversation. But that's it from me. So we'll see you for the next Life Words videos, guys. God bless.